Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another installment of MJ Everyday. Gonna follow up yesterday's episode on TMJ extended hypertrophy with another training based episode today. Gonna talk to you guys about positions of flexion, another training technique that I use frequently and pretty much every single arm workout in particular that I do. So for those of you who are unaware, positions of flexion is a training principle that is based on the foundation that any muscle in your entire body can exert its maximum force through one of three different positions of flexion. And those three positions of flexion are mid-range, so through the mid-range of a muscular contraction, contracted, so when a muscle is fully contracted, and stretched, so when a muscle is fully elongated or fully stretched. And what the positions of flexion technique prescribes is that a muscle can exert its maximum force through any one of those three positions of flexion, and any particular exercise is going to target one of those three positions of flexion. So a particular exercise may target a muscle exerting its maximum force through the mid-range position of flexion, whereas a different exercise may target that muscle exerting its maximum force when it's fully contracted, and another exercise may target that particular muscle when that muscle is fully elongated or fully stretched. So a really good example I like to use to see how this kind of plays out in practice is biceps. Biceps is a really easy way to demonstrate the positions of flexion training technique. So if we look at the bicep and we think about the three positions of flexion with relation to the bicep, it becomes quite obvious that a mid-range position of flexion movement when you're training biceps is going to be any type of standard curl. So it could be a standing alternating dumbbell curl, it could be a standing barbell curl or an easy bar curl, and that's when the bicep is exerting its maximum force pretty much through the mid-range of that movement, through the mid-range of that position of flexion is when the bicep is really firing on all cylinders and able to exert maximum force. If we then look at the contracted position of flexion, all you have to do with your bicep is pretty much take your elbow and move it in front of your torso, and you start doing things like spider curls or preacher curls. Those exercises really target the bicep in the contracted position of flexion. So the biceps are able to exert maximum force when they're fully contracted, either in the preacher curl or the spider curl or any type of curl where your elbow is significantly in front of your torso. We then look at the stretch position of flexion for biceps, and we're looking at any curling movement where your elbow is behind your torso. So we're looking at incline dumbbell curls. We're looking at standing cable curls where you stand in front of the cable so that your elbows are pulled behind your torso. And that's going to allow the bicep to exert its maximum force when the bicep is fully elongated, fully stretched, and in that stretch position of flexion. Now, I use biceps to describe the positions of flexion, guys, because it's definitely one of the most obvious ways to show you how to apply the positions of flexion training technique, but you can use it for every single muscle group. Sure, some muscle groups are not as easily to define distinctly the three positions of flexion. Chest is quite difficult to define, quads are quite difficult to define, but the same principles and the same fundamentals and techniques of positions of flexion training you can apply to every single muscle group. And the way that you actually put it into practice is once you've defined the positions of flexion for a particular exercise or for a particular muscle group, is you want to pick one exercise, minimum one exercise per position of flexion every time you train a particular muscle group. And that's just going to allow you to really hit the muscle from all different angles and stimulate as much muscle growth as you possibly can. Guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of MJ Everyday. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stay up to date with the MassiveJoes YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn your post notifications on both on your mobile, cell phone, and your desktop PC. Until tomorrow, I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay massive.